some reason it never appealed to me. Like, Darwin never appealed to me. So I just I'm lost on the whole conflict. I just tend to ignore it. Some reason it never appealed to me. Like, Darwin never appealed to me. So I just I'm lost on the
I had no interest in Darwin either, but when you hear from Rupanuga that Srila Prabhupada said that Darwinism was Prabhupada's greatest grief,
I see.
It really struck me that, wow, if I love Srila Prabhupada, then I must become dedicated to relieving Srila Prabhupada of his grief.
Right, that's true.
By becoming a pro when it comes to defeating Darwinism. I should be able to blow Darwinism like totally out of the water. Bang, 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 bang. Like have it like at my fingertips. Especially if you go to college or universities where you're constantly in touch with university students and they're being fed this propaganda as if it's science. Then you really got to be on your toes for the universe. Otherwise, like, oh, you're just like a sentimental Hare Krishna. You believe, but you don't actually have any solid arguments. That's what I love about college or university preaching is that university students, they keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
When you confront one of them and they start presenting the arguments and you're not well read, then you realize, oh, I better go home and there's some things I need to research in Prabhupada's books so I can represent him better. Yeah. I'm sure your Guru Maharaj would probably also agree. I mean, I can't be completely sure, but since he's in the Gaudiya line and he's in then he must also be concerned that people are duped by so much rubbish.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Okay. Who's on the iPhone there? Bhakta or Bhakti in iPhone? I see you, I see me, and I'm just curious to know who is Bhaktin or Bhakta iPhone.
Mystery.
Yes, maybe they will reveal themselves to us if we're polite and proper Vaishnavas.
I look forward to it.
Okay, so I'll just sing a few lines of Krishna, 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 hey, Krishna, 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 hey, Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Rama, 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 Rama,
upstairs.
Rama, Raghava, Rama, Ramam, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. Krishna book reading Ki Jai. Welcome back, boys and girls. Time to gather around for Krishna book reading. Hare Krishna Baba Trini, good to see you, and Hari Prabhu. And we have a mysterious guest with us tonight, Bhakta or Bhakti in iPhone. They are not revealing their identity yet, but we hope we'll find out eventually. And Nahush Prabhu is back. Yay!
We're probably going to lose you when we start driving.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we'll be in and out, but we might not be able to read
Will you be able to hear?
part of the time.
Okay, we're reading about Bhaumasura tonight, but how he gets delivered.
Oh.
Do you have a song about him too?
No.
Okay, you can write one for the next session on Wednesday, okay?
Okay.
See what you can come up with.
Okay.
Bhaumasura is also known as Narakasura.
Oh, he's the son of
Earth and
the earth and Varaha. But
Krishna.
that's why Davida Gorilla was so upset, because Krishna killed Bhaumasura, Davida's friend.
Oh, okay,
I
that's
say that in the song about
that's in your song about
gorilla.
the gorilla. I remember now.
Yes.
Okay, I remember.
Right.
So I hope you won't go out of reception, but at least we've got Nanda Patni back. So
Yay.
not everything is lost because Nanda Patni is here. So
I have to show you something beautiful. Look at that.
wow.
Wow,
That's
that's gorgeous.
it's Radharani's garland.
Wow.
Oh, and we get to see
From where? From SoCal?
No, from Silicon Valley, ISKCON Silicon
Oh,
Valley.
Silicon Valley.
Wow.
Indradyumna
yes.
Prabhu was there last night. Maharaj was there.
Oh, yes, we've been
wonderful.
following him.
And Hari Prasad. It was a double whammy.
wow.
Wow.
And the whole lecture was on Tunga Vidya, Shaki.
Oh, yeah, if you follow him, he has one that is actually amazing. I'm sure he was reading from the same sources.
Yes,
Indradyumna
Prabodhananda
Maharaj.
Saraswati. Prabodhananda Saraswati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes.
He is, Tunga is
If you're
Prabodhananda
interested,
Saraswati.
I posted the whole evening on my Facebook. Sorry, Gaura, I'm being a real bore crashing
Oh,
in.
yeah. Yeah, we like that.
That's just like you.
Haribo.
No, I heard some of Hari Prasad Prabhu speaking. Yes. Glad to hear that Indradyumna Swami is in good shape and he's making his rounds.
Oh, just so much love. With people adore him. And the children, oh my gosh, such a mellow of complete affection. You know, it was so inspiring, and he led the kirtan. It's everything you want it to be, you know. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So sorry for gate crashing, Gaura.
So let's. I mean, we're very spontaneous here. We're trying to be anyway. On the I should not be so I should not be so presumptuous to think that I'm even approaching the shore of Raganuga Bhakti, but I appreciate the spontaneous mood. Let's put it that way. Yay, Via is back too. Hare Krishna, Via. Thank you for coming.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, all the way
Hare
from
Krishna.
the nation's capital, from Ottawa, Ontario.
From Ottawa.
Wow. We are the International Society for Krishna Consciousness here. We've got representatives from New York, from Long Island, and Southern California, Ottawa, and Nahush, I believe, is near Detroit, Motown. Is that right,
Yeah.
Nahush? Yeah.
I think it's Detroit, but yeah, it's something French or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Detroit.
That's why.
French.
Yep.
Also known as Motown. Okay, so let's pull up our Krishna book for this evening. And where do we have it? Prabhupada, Deliverance of. So this is the second volume of the Krishna book, Deliverance of the Demon Bhaumasura. And if we get through it, I also have the Sarartha Darshini pulled up if we want to go into extra details. We have the commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur on hand as well. So, the story of Bhaumasura, how he kidnapped and made captive 16,000 princesses by collecting them from the palaces of various kings, and how he was killed by Krishna, the Supreme Lord, a wonderful character, is all described by Shukadeva Goswami to King Parikshit in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, the demons are always against the demigods. This demon, Bhaumasura, having become very powerful, took by force the umbrella from the throne of the demigod Varuna. He also took the earrings of Aditi, the mother of the demigods. He conquered a portion of heavenly Mount Meru and occupied the portion which was known as Mani Parvat. The king of the heavenly planets, Indra, therefore came to Dwarka to complain about Bhaumasura before Lord Krishna. It's interesting to note how one of the asuric qualities is that as soon as they have some power, they want to take everything from everyone. Whether it's the umbrella from Varuna, or stealing the earrings of the mother of the demigods, Aditi, or even conquering a portion of Mount Meru. This Bhaumasura is a very naughty boy. Hearing this complaint by Indra, the king of heaven, Lord Krishna, accompanied by his wife Satyabhama, immediately started for the abode of Bhaumasura. Both of them rode on the back of Garuda, who flew them to Pragjotishapur, the capital city of Bhaumasura. It was not a very easy task to enter into the kingdom of Pragjotishapur, because it was very well fortified. First of all, there were 4 formidable forts guarding the 4 directions of the city, and was well protected on all sides by formidable military strength. The next boundary was a water canal all around the city, which we also call a moat, right? So we see that moats were not just of British invention, but actually way back here in the Krishna book, a moat was around the city of Bhaumasura. And in addition, the whole city was surrounded with electric wires. Wow! Interesting, isn't it? For 5,000 years ago? And people think that we're like, these are all like modern inventions of Thomas Edison or Tesla, but electric wires 5,000 years ago. Interesting. The next fortification was of anila, a gaseous substance. After this, there was a network of barbed wire constructed by a demon of the name Mura. It appeared that the city was well protected, even in terms of today's scientific advancements. I'll say. Anyone want to comment on that before Krishna Chandra continues?
No.
I'd like
Krishna
to
Chandra,
say,
did you want to continue, Prabhu? Okay, now who something to share?
yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, definitely they were advanced because even in the Mahabharata, there's different kinds of weapons: fire weapons, water weapons, wind, etc. And yeah, there was a lot of technology back then, and I guess the general conception is that we're advancing in the ages, but actually, overall we're degrading because of the yuga cycles. But it's just, I guess Mahaprabhu's mercy that we're advancing. I just wanted to comment that. Yeah.
Also, Vimanas. I feel like the Vimanas are much better than the airplanes we have today.
Well, just so was it Shishupal or Shalva that had like a whole city on his Vimana plane? That's very advanced.
Mhm. Yeah, forget the space station.
Right. And Prabhupada would say that it's generally a high development of technology. This is a demoniac quality. If you're really good at developing technology, this is the specialty of demons. Like
Mhm.
Mayanava, I think he was a top demon. And what did he invent? He invented that artificial. Was it that it looked like water, but it's actually land, and it was a kind of an illusion that he created. I believe he also made the spacecraft for either Shishupal or Shalva. So advanced technology is not necessarily a sign of love for Krishna. Seems like it's more of a Sudra quality.
Although you'll have to say that the Pandavas had very sophisticated weapons, didn't they, in the battle?
Mm-hmm.
Arjuna had all sorts of snazzy weapons, didn't he?
Bestowed by demigods, right?
Mm.
Indra, his father Indra.
Mm.
I don't remember all the different weapons, but okay, Krishna Chandra Prabhu. When Krishna arrived.
Thank you. When Krishna arrived, he broke all the forts to pieces by the strokes of his club, and the military strength scattered here and there by the constant onslaught of the arrows of Krishna. With his celebrated Sudarshan chakra, he counteracted the electrified boundary. The channels of water and the gaseous boundary were made null and void, and he cut to pieces the electrified network fabricated by the demon Mura. By the vibration of his conch shell, he not only broke the hearts of great fighters, but also the fighting machines which were there. Similarly, the walls around the city were broken by his invincible club. The vibration of his conch shell sounded like the thunderbolt at the time of the dissolution of the whole cosmic situation. The demon Mura heard the vibration of the conch shell, awakened from his sleep, and personally came out to see what had happened. He had 5 heads and had long been living within the water. The Mura demon was as brilliant as the sun at the time of the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation, and his temper was like blazing fire. The effulgence of his body was so dazzling that it was difficult to see him with open eyes. When he came out, he first of all took out his trident and began to rush the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The onslaught of the demon Mura was like a big snake attacking Garuda. His angry mood was very severe, and he appeared ready to devour the three worlds. First of all, he attacked the carrier of Krishna, Garuda, by whirling his trident, and he began to vibrate sounds through his five faces like the roaring of a lion. The roaring produced by the vibration of his mouths spread all over the atmosphere until it extended not only all over the world, but also into outer space, up and down, and out to the 10 directions. In this way, the sound was rumbling throughout the whole universe.
I just like to pull up a photo here for a moment of, hopefully it will show, of Mura, the Mura demon. Can you see? Is it showing up on your screen? No?
I saw it for a moment.
Yes.
Did-
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you imagine what that'd be like? I'm facing someone that roared like a lion with 5 heads. That'd be enough to freak anybody out, right?
I wanted to ask, a lot of these demons, that are attacking Krishna, they must have been demons, for a long time in the material world, or trying to acquire all sorts of powers and mystic opulence in order to, because the whole concept of the material world is that, we want to be separate from Krishna, we want to be the supreme personality of God. So all these demons have these qualities. So do we know, like, does anybody know, I guess, for how long these demons used to, like, do tapasya and meditation and all these things to gain all these mystic powers? I know, like, about Hiranyakashipu, but I just wanted to know about the other ones, like how many ages they sat for tapasya in order to get all these crazy powers.
That's a really technical question. I only know, I've heard of Hiranyakashipu. I can't really comment on each individual demon.
Yeah, that's
But these demons are also there by the will of the Lord, right? So the Lord can perform his pastimes and have sporting pleasures, sporting play. Because Krishna doesn't kill demons in the spiritual world; he just kills them here, to the best of my knowledge. Then the
true.
Patni, your turn.
Okay. Lord Krishna saw that the trident of the Mura demon was gradually rushing towards his carrier Garuda. Immediately, by a trick of his hand, he took 2 arrows and threw them toward the trident, cutting it to pieces. Simultaneously using many arrows, he pierced the mouths of the demon Mura. When he saw himself outmaneuvered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Mura demon immediately began to strike him in great anger with his club. But Lord Krishna, with his own club, broke the club of Mura into pieces before it could reach him. The demon, bereft of his weapon, decided to attack Krishna with his strong arms. But by the aid of his Sudarshan chakra, Krishna immediately separated the demon's 5 heads from his body. Aha! The demon then fell into the water, just as the peak of a mountain falls into the ocean after being struck by a thunderbolt of Indra. This demon Mura had 7 sons, named Tamra, Antariksha, Shravana, Vibhavasu, or Vibhavasu, Basu, Nabaspan, and Aruna. All of them became puffed up and vengeful because of the death of their father, and in order to retaliate, they prepared in great anger to fight Krishna. They equipped themselves with necessary weapons and situated Pita, another demon, to act as commander in the battle. By the order of Bhaumasura, all of them combinedly attacked Krishna.
Very aggressive. Here's another painting of what's going on right now. I don't know if everyone can see this one on the screen.
Mm.
Can you see that?
Yeah, that's a great painting.
This is a modern rendition. I believe this is the artist from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Europe. That building is really demolished. This looks like Ukraine right now.
Mm. It's a great painting, very dramatic.
Yes. And the Sudarshan Chakra. It's very well done by the artist, isn't it? You can almost like feel the heat of the Sudarshan Chakra.
Well, it's an unusual perspective that he's chosen, so it gives it sort of dynamism, in my unhumble opinion.
Well, you're an art critic, so it's worth something.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a quick comment?
No.
Okay.
Please.
Yes, of course you can.
Thank you, Prabhu. I noticed that they said Krishna threw the arrows. He didn't even use a bow. I found that impressive.
Mm.
Uh-huh. Now, the only thing I don't get about this is Mura had 10 heads. He had a trident. It looks like only one head is getting sliced off here, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But I agree with Nandapatni. This is quite an extraordinary painting.
Mm.
I thought all his weapons were gone by the time Krishna took the Sudarshan chakra, but I could be incorrect.
All the weapons are gone?
I thought all his weapons were already destroyed by the time Krishna used the Sudarshan chakra on him.
Okay. But I'm only seeing one head being sliced off here. That was my point.
Mm.
Okay. Anyway, we have the general idea. Okay, so Nandapatni, you finished your turn to read. Now, whoops, how did we get over there? Got to get back here. Back to... I'm going to close. I'm afraid. Okay. I'm just trying to find where we were. PrabhupadaBooks.com. Okay, via our... So you read 2 paragraphs, right, Nandapatni?
Mm-hmm.
Via, are you available to read?
Yeah, yes, I'm available to read, Prabhu.
Okay, please continue. Bhaumasura was also known.
It's still showing on my screen. It says chapter 59, the killing of the demon. Is this the one? Like,
You can't see the screen here?
it's just showing like chapter 59, the killing of the demon Naraka. Yeah, no, it went away. But where is that?
I just closed it because you don't seem to be able... I don't know what the technical difficulty is. Can you see now?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah, that's good.
yes. Okay. Bhaumasura was also known that I read that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. Bhaumasura was also known as Narakasura, for he happened to be the son of the earth personified. When he saw that all his soldiers, commanders, and fighters were killed on the battlefield by the strokes of the weapons of the personality of Godhead, he became exceedingly angry at the Lord. He then came out of the city with a great number of elephants who had all been born and brought up on the seashore. All of them were highly intoxicated. When they came out, they saw that Lord Krishna and his wife were beautifully situated high in outer space, just like a blackish cloud about the sun, glittering with the light of electricity. the demon Bhaumasura immediately released a weapon called Satachni, by which he could kill hundreds of warriors with one stroke. He simultaneously, all his assistants also threw their respective weapons at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna began to counteract all these weapons by releasing his feathered arrows. The result of this fight was that all the soldiers and commanders of Bhaumasura fell to the ground, their arms, legs, and heads separated from their trunks. And all their horses and elephants also fell with them. In this way, all the weapons released by Bhaumasura were cut to pieces by the reaction of the Lord's arrows. The Lord was fighting on the back of Garuda, and Garuda was also helping the Lord by striking the horses and elephants with his wings. And I forgot where it was. And scratching their heads with his nails and sharpened beak. The elephants were feeling much pain by Garuda's attack, and then they were all dispersing from the battlefield. Bhaumasura alone renamed on the battlefield, and he engaged himself in fighting with Krishna. He saw that Krishna's carrier, Garuda, was causing great disturbance to his soldiers and elephants, and in great anger, he struck Garuda with all his strength, which defied the strength of the thunderbolt. Unfortunately, Garuda was not an ordinary bird, and he felt the strokes given by Bhaumasura just as a great elephant feels the impact of a garland of flowers. Bhaumasura thus came to
I just wanted to make, before you read the next, sorry. I just wanted to make a quick comment, if I may.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one time I was distributing books on a native Amara Indian reserve called Ganatasage on the border of Quebec and on.
Oh, we were going to go to, yeah.
I'm going to mute you, sorry. Okay, I'll try to begin again. So I was distributing books on the border of Quebec and Ontario, and before I was going to go out to do books, I was finishing some japa. So I went into this forest, and I heard that Srila Prabhupada said sometimes if you're having difficulties with your mind, you can chant louder. So I was walking through this forest of fir trees, and I was chanting loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this eagle swooped down and smashed me on the head with its talons. And I fell to the ground, and I was shocked. And I realized that I was probably terrorizing, because the eagle probably had a nest up in the trees, and probably saw me as a threat because I was yelling the Hare Krishna mantra, and that really shook me up. But that thought just came to me just now, because I believe that Garuda is related, although Garuda is not an ordinary eagle, but Garuda is somehow or other some affiliation with the eagle family. So as I was thinking about how Garuda was flapping its wings and threatening demons, I was remembering the time when I was yelling the Hare Krishna mantra in the woods and I got attacked by an eagle. The thought just came back to me. I hope I didn't deviate from the discussion too much. Please, Via, please.
Yeah.
I wanted to deviate. I forgot to mention that on Sunday, this is really wonderful information. I forgot to tell all the devotees. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
That's very distorted, but we. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, my cousin was the mayor of Atlanta when I joined.
Yeah.
And he died on Sunday at age 94.
A week ago.
Oh.
And when I joined the temple, not when I became a devotee, when I moved into the Atlanta temple all the devotees were being arrested every time they went to chant or distribute books. So I went to visit my cousin at the mayor's office, and I brought Balavanta, and we brought in Mahaprasadam and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and told him the story of Lord Chaitanya and the Kazi, and he made an ordinance that the devotees could chant, dance, distribute books, stand on their head, do whatever they want for distributing Krishna consciousness within the city limits of Atlanta, Georgia for all time.
Wow.
So I was just talking, the day he died, I was talking to someone about giving him an award before he died.
Yeah.
This one, you know, the RGBC.
But now he's passed away, and I just wanted to tell everyone and let everyone wish him a good journey and appreciate what he did.
That's a wonderful story. Do you have a copy of that letter?
No, I don't, but the ordinance is still in effect.
Because the Atlanta devotees, they should have a copy of that. So in case they ever have any difficulty on Harinam or book distribution, they immediately have that letter. That's a very valuable letter.
Yeah, well, I don't have a letter.
It passed the ordinance.
He made an ordinance. He
Okay,
just
okay.
told me verbally.
Okay.
It's an ordinance in Atlanta. Yeah.
So the
But I
devotees,
just wanted to,
yes.
so,
Thank you. The devotees should find that ordinance and keep it in their book bags.
right.
Yes.
So that's very valuable. That's a wonderful story. He
Yes,
the
this one.
I mean he heard the scripture, he received prasadam. He did very good service.
Actually,
We
they
also
could
read
probably, they could probably get a copy of the ordinance. I would think that's probably
yes.
public record, which they could
Right.
then, hang in the temple somewhere.
Yes.
Right.
They
What-
should
what
give
was
him
his
some
name?
kind of a little plaque or something for him.
Mhm.
The entire you should see them the ceremonies and who came, everybody. I mean, it was all because of that. At the time that Bhattarini went, it was all the civil rights movement, and he was very active in that. So he was loved by both Afro Americans and like that. He was the first and last Jewish mayor of Atlanta. The rest are all Afro Americans, but they had so much love and respect for him
Wow.
for what he's done to the community. So the devotees fit into that niche there, that we were a minority.
Pious man.
Anyhow,
Pious man.
He also the teaching of Lord Chaitanya from cover to cover and discussed it with me later on.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, so Mahotsaha Prabhu, he's one of the main book distributors out there in Atlanta. And if I can get a hold of him, I'm in touch with Ram Roy. Maybe he'll know how to tell Mahotsaha to dig up this ordinance. What year was that? From what year?
1971.
Do you remember the month?
It was before November and after May.
summertime, you remember it?
I don't remember the month.
But it was somewhere there that the ordinance would have been made, right? Between May and November, 71.
Yes.
I have Bhaumasura Prabhu's number if you need it, Gaura Prabhu. I can send it to you later.
Yes, please send that to me.
Oh,
Because
terrific, yeah.
you should be equipped with this. Because I remember all the years I went on Sankirtan, it was very valuable to have a letter from the local police or from that state or province that acknowledged that we weren't just a bunch of riffraff. We were actually authorized. There was a little pamphlet even that the BBT put out called "The Krishna Consciousness Movement is Authorized." And it was filled with testimonies from all these professors all over
I
America.
remember it.
Yeah.
I was hoping that somebody would have gone to his funeral,
Oh,
but that,
No Harinam. I mean, there was on channel too. It was all over the television. Atlanta, Georgia, transmitted. He was so known.
yeah. If you would have
It would have been great PR.
contacted CK Mahidi, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, their devotees that are there all the time, then if you would have
I
informed.
can't find, I couldn't find out how to contact them.
You should have asked Gaura.
Yeah,
should have
I mean,
asked you.
I, with whatever little humility I have, I spent the last 11 years finding 904 Prabhupada disciples. So if you're looking for someone, then I'm a pretty good source.
Yes.
I should probably put his story on
Definitely,
the site,
Yeah.
disciples,
Yes,
etc.
please,
I
please do.
was last time I talked to Balavanta, he was gonna, that was a few years ago, he was going to give him an award,
Yeah, planned, but something.
something to,
Please
he
write.
was a big deal.
Please write it.
Atlanta, but
Yeah,
Thank
we should write about that.
Okay,
I
let's
don't know how to get in touch with Balavanta.
Well, you did before, but now you lost this.
Yeah, I'll just put it on your site you made for
I'm
Balavanta.
I'm in touch with Ambarish, so I can ask Ambarish because he's in touch with Balavanta. Maybe if you want me to do that.
Oh yeah, they're good friends. They're good friends. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll write to Ambarish and see if I get a reply. Okay,
Great.
Rasangi, are you? Thank you for coming, Rasangi. Obeisances to you. Are you able to read? I saw you sitting. You look like you're comfy at home.
I am home. I can read.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Good. So
I may
here.
go for a walk after I read, that's all.
Okay. Via, do you remember where you left off? Was it just as a great elephant feels the impact of a garland of flowers? Was that the last thing?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
Kruo.
Thank you. Okay, Rasangi. Bhaumasura thus came to see.
Oh, that's so small.
Well, I can make it bigger.
I
I'll
turned
make
it.
it bigger
got it.
for you.
I turned it. Now it's bigger. Bhaumasura thus came, to see that none of his tricks would act upon Krishna, and he became aware that all his attempts to kill Krishna would be frustrated. Yet he attempted for the last time, taking a trident in his hand to strike him. Krishna was so dexterous that before Bhaumasura could touch his trident, his head was cut off by the sharp Sudarshan chakra. His head, illuminated by earrings and helmets, fell down on the battlefield. On the occasion of Bhaumasura's being killed by Lord Krishna, all the demons' relatives began to scream in disappointment, and the saintly persons began to glorify the chivalrous activities of the Lord. Taking this opportunity, the denizens of the heavenly planets began to shower flowers on the Lord. Oops, gonna have to move it up. At this time, the earth personified appeared before Lord Krishna and greeted him with a garland of Vaijayanti jewels. She also returned the dazzling, have to scroll up, Gaura. Let's scroll up, thank you very much. Wait. Oh. I think, let me see, go down a little bit. Yeah. Heavenly plants began to shower flowers on the Lord. At this time, the earth personified appeared before Lord Krishna and greeted him with a garland of Vaijayanti jewels. She also returned the dazzling earrings of Aditi, bedecked with jewels and gold. She also returned the umbrella of Varuna, along with another valuable jewel, which she presented to Krishna. After this, the earth personified began to offer her prayers to Krishna, the Supreme Personality and Master of the world, who was always worshipped by very exalted demigods. She fell down in obeisances and in great devotional ecstasy began to speak.
I'm trying to understand how is it that the earth personified is returning all these things that Bhaumasura stole? Is that because she's Bhaumasura's mom?
I don't know.
Does anyone know?
It's not explained. It's probably in some other commentary somewhere, but it's not really
Because
explained.
Baba Trini was mentioning earlier that Mother Earth is Bhaumasura's mom.
Yes, and Varaha's his father.
Wow, that doesn't make
But I
sense
don't
to me.
know.
It's a
Doesn't
case
make
of bad association.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mother Earth is your mom, Varaha is your dad, and you want to be a big demon? I don't get it.
But it happens, eh?
Well, it's explained in the story of Davida Gorilla that he was a devotee and personal associate of Lord Ramachandra, but due to bad association with Bhaumasura, he became a demon. So obviously Bhaumasura had bad association too.
Because of hanging out with the Vivita Gorilla?
No, he must have, he polluted
Yeah,
Davida Gorilla, so he must have already been polluted, but I've never read much about it. All I know about him is what we just read.
We read it somewhere recently.
Okay, thank you. Krishna Chandra, on my screen, I have you as reading next.
No problem. Happy to do so.
Okay, so these are the prayers being offered by Mother Earth for Earth Day. I think that's April 1st, isn't it? Earth Day?
April 22nd.
Mother Earth.
Oh,
Is it
top
April 22nd?
Yeah.
Oh, no, April 1st is April Fool's.
Yeah.
That's April Fool's Day. All right, please continue.
Yes, from April 22nd, yes. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is always present with 4 kinds of symbols, namely his conch shell, disc, lotus, and club, and who is the Lord of all demigods. Please accept my respectful obeisances unto you. My dear Lord, you are the supersoul, and in order to satisfy the aspiration of your devotees, you descend on the earth in your various transcendental incarnations, which are just appropriate to the devotees' worshipful desire. Kindly accept my respectful obeisances. My dear Lord, the lotus flower is grown out of your navel, and you are always decorated with a garland of lotus flowers. Your eyes are always spread like the petals of the lotus flower, and therefore they are all pleasing to the eyes of others. Your lotus feet are so soft and delicate that they are always worshipped by your unalloyed devotees, and they pacify their lotus-like hearts. Please scroll further, Prabhu. I, therefore, repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
You possess all kinds of religions, fame, property. Was that 2 paragraphs?
I only read 1 so far.
Please continue. Sorry.
Thank you, Prabhu. You possess all kinds of religions, fame, property, knowledge, and renunciation. You are the shelter of all 5 opulences. Although you are all-pervading, you have nevertheless appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Please, therefore, accept my respectful obeisances. You are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead and the supreme cause of all causes. Only your lordship is the reservoir of all knowledge. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Personally, you are unborn. Still, you are the father of the whole cosmic manifestation. You are the reservoir and shelter of all kinds of energies. The manifestive appearance of this world is caused by you, and you are both the cause and effect of this cosmic manifestation. Please, therefore, accept my respectful obeisances.
My dear Lord, as for the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, they are also not independent of you. When there is necessity of creating this cosmic manifestation, you create your passionate appearance. And when you want to maintain this cosmic manifestation, you expand yourself as Lord Vishnu, the reservoir of all goodness. Similarly, you appear as Lord Shiva, master of the modes of ignorance, and thus dissolve the whole creation. Your transcendental position is always maintained. In spite of creating these three modes of material nature, you are never entangled like the ordinary living entities within these modes of material nature. Actually, my Lord, you are the material nature. You are the Father of the universe, and you are the eternal time that has caused the combination of nature and the material creator. Still, you are always transcendental to all these material activities. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know that earth, water, fire, air, sky, the five sense objects, mind, the senses, and their deities, egotism, as well as the total material energy, everything animate and inanimate in this phenomenal world is resting upon you. Since everything is produced of you, nothing can be separated from you. Yet since you are transcendently situated, neither can anything material be identified with your personality. Everything is, therefore, simultaneously one and different from you. And the philosophers who try to separate everything from you are certainly mistaken in their viewpoint. I just like to make a comment that it's so wonderful to see how Mother Earth is offering her prayers in glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krsna. And because, when I was taking my 4-season permaculture design course at the Living Center up here in St. Thomas, Ontario, under Shantri Kasera, I spent 7 months working on the land, learning about mulching and watching Brian Swim's, Dr. Brian Swim. He's an ethnobotanist, I think, or from University of California. The movie was called, The Journey of the Universe, showing Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, in all of her splendor, and how in spite of all the fracking and horrible things that the materialists are doing to Mother Earth, that Mother Earth will reign supreme in the end. And then it showed Joanna Macy, this elderly lady who's like what they call an eco-feminist. And, she's representing all these people who are into the environment. And I kind of got the realization at that point that environmentalism can be a kind of a religion for some people. And I was sort of like thinking in my mind that this is kind of similar to maybe Wiccan or pagan concepts, which have a regard for the sacredness of Mother Earth. But I was thinking how the books that Srila Prabhupada has given us, they take things to a whole other level. I mean, who amongst all these environmentalists and deep ecologists would ever think that Mother Earth herself offers prayers? and who's she offering those prayers to? To Lord Krsna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is like a whole other level of environmentalism that the environmentalists and ecologists are unconscious of. And I remember 10 years ago when I took this course, I lost my enthusiasm, unfortunately. But when I came out of the course, I thought, as devotees, we should be offering a 4-season permaculture design course, but from the perspective of the Vedas, because they don't have any conception that there are personalities behind, like they teach us, in the permaculture course about the importance of the air and the water and the sun and so forth. But they don't know that Vayu is in charge of the air. They don't know that Indra is in charge of the water. They don't have, because it's all impersonal what is presented to us, it's all very vague. And I was thinking, even if you get people just, initially appreciating that each of the elements are personified, then gradually, you could bring them to understanding that Lord Krishna is ultimately who all the devatas of the, what is it, 14 directions? Is it 33 million devatas, something like that? There's 33 principal devatas, and each devata has 1 million assistants or servants. So, I mean, we've got the gold. There's so much that we can offer to people in terms of our Vedic knowledge that Srila Prabhupada has given us. What do you think, Nandapatni? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Brian Swim, he's kind of inspiring, but he's also he's
Darwinist.
yeah, he's an evolutionist for sure. He's all about the Big Bang and whatnot. Joanna Macy is a complete right-on Buddhist, Voidist.
Okay,
Even though, they try to come to the sort of sattvic level.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if devotees with different farm projects that are successful in the world teach. I know there's this very interesting Prabhu who teaches the ISKCON the cow protection. I'm not sure if he's in Florida or Romania or wherever he is, but he definitely trains people in.
Talking about Balabhadra?
Maybe that's him. Yeah, older man, I think. Yeah.
International Society for Krishna
Cow
for
protection.
Cow Protection.
Yeah.
One, yeah. And recently I interviewed Radha Krishna Prabhu, who has a site on Facebook called Vedic Agriculture, and he's talking about the importance of creating fertilizer.
Yeah. I don't know if Shiva Ram's project in Romania does anything like that. I mean, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful medium by which to educate people that nobody else in permaculture is offering that perspective, the Vedic perspective. I mean, there's a Veda for everything. I don't know what the name of the Veda is for agriculture, but if one did the in-depth study, Radhakrishna Prabhu, in the recent interview I did with him, I can't remember the gentleman's name now, I'm sorry, but he lived for over 20, 30 years in India, and he learned about agriculture from India, came back to England, and started educating people about sattvic agricultural principles.
I tell you who is good on this, and that's Vandana Shiva.
Ah, yes.
You must know, because she has Navdanya, which is the seed,
right,
heirloom seed institute, for want of a better word.
Right.
And she's gone up against big corporations and whatnot, and she's extremely articulate, and also she's a physicist with various PhDs, so she actually has a lot of clout.
She's Bill Gates, and she's Bill Gates' enemy number one.
Yeah. She has actually won cases against Monsanto and things like that. But
she graduated from the University of Western Ontario, just an hour and a half from where I am, in London, Ontario. Yeah.
I also wanted to bring up another quick point, if I may, and that was, reading about these pastimes where people are getting all their limbs blown off and their heads chopped off and all this very dramatic stuff. It's such a contrast to what's happening in the material world, where you have these very demoniac forces, even if you take Russia and Ukraine right now, where there are these ghastly weapons, and everything is acute misery and devastation under the three modes of material nature. So then we're reading Krishna Lila, which, although it's battles and people's heads are getting chopped off and their limbs are flying everywhere, they're actually attaining liberation. So I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up, because people are so devastated under the three modes of material nature by the identification with the body and attachment to, each other's relatives, and all the level of suffering, which is, you just have to take a peep at it to see what the level of suffering is. But here we are reading Krishna Lila in a whole different dimension. So I thought I would just make the contrast.
That's a good point, because when we read about limbs being blown off in Ukraine, it doesn't give us the liberating effect that reading about limbs being blown off in the Krishna book does, because everything's related to Krishna in the Krishna book.
Yeah, it's real suffering, unadulterated suffering.
I'm not saying that we should remain callous to what our brothers and sisters are going through in these other countries, but if one has a tendency to be intrigued by battle and warfare, it's important not to replace Fox News. Not to replace Krishna book with Fox News or whatever.
Absolutely, but by the same token, one has to put Vaishnavas and devotees who are in places like Mariupol and Kiev and all these different places that are under massive bombardment and devastation, and have an understanding of that. Devotees were reaching out saying, we haven't had food and water and electricity at -3 degrees for 8 days.
Right.
So what's the correct Vaishnava perspective on that?
Well, all glories to Parashuram Prabhu, from originally from Ireland and married to our god sister Moksha Lakshmi, and who's been heading up the Soho Street Harinam for many years. He's there with his crew right on the border of Poland and Ukraine, cooking up thousands of prasadam meals every day. And I also have information from Mahatma Prabhu where people can donate if they want. He's given me those emails to ensure that the Lakshmi goes directly for that kind of support. So if anyone is interested in donating, I have the contact information, if that's what you mean, Nandapatni.
Well, I suppose what I'm saying also, I understand those particular efforts, but there are Vaishnavas, for example, in this one city where even if people try to leave, they're being shot. And, it's just utter devastation. And from my understanding, there are devotees, Vaishnavas, trapped in those situations. But I suppose, the whole thrust of Krishna consciousness is that, like as evidenced in Kurukshetra, when Krishna's teaching that we are an eternal spirit soul who can depend on Krishna in any circumstance.
Certainly one is tested in that circumstance to always remember him and never forget him.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much.
Okay, would you like to read next, Nandapatni? Okay, I think I just finished, did I?
The prayers?
Does anyone remember where I left off? I'm not sure if it's separate from yours, certainly. Oh, yeah, simultaneously one and different. Okay, I finished there. So your 2 paragraphs start.
My dear Lord, may I inform you that this boy, whose name is Bhagadatta, is the son of my son, Bhaumasura. He has been very much affected by the ghastly situation created by the death of his father, and has become very much confused, being afraid of the present situation. I have therefore brought him to surrender at your lotus feet, and I request your lordship to give shelter to this boy and bless him with your lotus feet. I'm bringing him to you so that he may become relieved from the reactions of all the sinful activities of his father. When Lord Krishna heard the prayers of Mother Earth, he immediately assured her of immunity from all fearful situations. He said to Bhagavata, "Don't be afraid." And then he entered the palace of Bhaumasura, which was equipped with all kinds of opulences. In the palace of Bhaumasura, Lord Krishna saw 16,100 young princesses who had been kidnapped and held captive there. Are you there, Gaura?
I'm here. I just have to push this up.
Captive there. When the princesses saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, enter the palace, they immediately became captivated by the beauty of the Lord and prayed for his causeless mercy. With their minds, they decided to accept Lord Krishna as their husband without any hesitation. Each one of them began to pray to Providence that Krishna might become her husband. Sincerely and seriously, they offered their hearts to the lotus feet of Krishna with an unalloyed devotional attitude. As the super soul in everyone's heart, Krishna could understand their uncontaminated desire, and he agreed to accept them as his wives. Thus, he arranged for suitable dresses and ornaments for them, and each of them, seated on a palanquin, was dispatched to Dwarka city. Krishna also collected unlimited wealth from the palace, along with chariots, horses, jewels, and treasure. He took from the palace 50 white elephants. Gosh, that would be a sight, wouldn't it? White elephants, each with 4 tusks, and all of them were dispatched to Dwarka.
Let's see, who is next in line here? After you and Krishna Chandra, Basangi, and then Via.
I think Rasangi's maybe.
Okay, then Via, if Rasangi's walking. Via?
Okay. After this accident, Lord Krishna and
And it-
Satyabhama.
It was an incident, not an accident.
After this incident, Lord Krishna and Satyabhama entered Amaravati, the capital city of the heavenly planet. And they immediately entered this palace of King Indra and his wife, Sachi Devi, who welcomed them. Krishna then presented Indra with the marriage of Aditi. When Krishna and Satyabhama were returning from the capital city of Indra, Satyabhama remembered Krishna's promise to give her the plant of the Parijata flower. Taking the opportunity of having come to the beautiful kingdom, she plucked the Parijata plant and kept it on the back of Garuda. Once Narada took a Parijata flower and presented it to Krishna's senior wife, Sri Rukmini Devi. On account of this, Satyabhama developed an inferiority complex. Thank you. She also wanted a flower from Krishna. Krishna could understand the competitive womanly nature and his co-wives, and he smiled. He immediately asked Satyabhama, "Why are you asking for only one flower? I would like to give you a whole tree of Parijata flowers."
Krishna Chandra.
Actually, oh, sorry.
Didn't you just read 2 paragraphs?
I think so.
Krishna Chandra Prabhu.
Oh, thank you,
Krishna
Prabhu.
Chandra?
I think.
No.
Yeah, I'm right here.
It's not
I
your
just,
Yes.
pardon?
I was wondering if you could, since you're really good at looking up stuff, could you please look up to see if the Parijata flower has a Latin name? Because like Nanda Patni,
Okay.
totally absorbed. She's like a botanist. And wondering if there's a Latin name for the Parijata flower, or is it only a flower found in the heavenly planets, and it hasn't been classified with a Latin name. And then if you could look up Parijata flower and see if actually one exists here, if there's a photo of a Parijata flower.
I
Yes,
think
it's the night flowering jasmine.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh my God. So, when I started up a preaching center in Clearwater Beach back in 92, I got a little apartment. It was like servants' quarters behind this large house. So I was going to sleep the first night, and then all of a sudden, this amazing aroma started entering into my bedroom, and I couldn't figure out, like, what is that? Like, I don't remember leaving any incense burning. It was a heavenly aroma, unlike anything I'd ever. And then I looked in the morning and I saw there was a night blooming jasmine just below my window, and it was an amazing experience.
In the Shastras, different writings by the Goswamis, it's described that the night blooming jasmine is, I think it's called an adipan, or a prompt, something that prompts Krishna to do something, be attracted in a certain way in a ras. And so this night blooming jasmine prompts him to engage in the rasa dance.
Wow. I can believe it.
It's the flower, it's the scent that creates this atmosphere.
Yeah, I was becoming affected by this flower. It was amazing. Wow, and I never heard of a flower that blooms at night. Is it the only one that blooms?
No, there are. I mean, because some plants are only fertilized by night insects or night flying bats, like certain night flowering cacti.
Huh.
They'll flower only just for one night of the full moon. So there are definitely night flowering plants. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Creation.
Mm-hmm.
And he says in the Gita that by the moon, he gives a succulence to the vegetation by the moonbeams. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, well, that's what do they call it? Biodynamics. They subscribe to only planting on the full moon and the waxing of the moon, because the moon correlates to the tides and it correlates to fertility of seeds, etc., etc. So you can get way down the the rabbit hole on all that stuff.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. And that's all coming from the Vedas. Rudolf Steiner, he was also influenced by Vedic philosophy.
Yeah.
So, okay. I don't know if Rasangi's back on our walk. I guess it's my turn to read, and then Nandapatni's turn, and then Krishna Chandra. Okay. Actually, Krishna had purposefully taken his wife, Satyabhama, with him so she could collect with her own hand. But the denizens of the heavenly planet, including Indra, became very irritated. Without their permission, Satyabhama had plucked a parijata plant, which is not to be found on the earth planet. Well, okay, that's interesting. So earlier you were saying that it's equivalent or maybe similar to the night blooming jasmine, right? Nandapatni. Because here it's saying
it is described as existing here, but I'm speculating here that the one from the heavenly planets had particular Shakti to it.
Right. Okay.
I mean, given that we say that everything here in the material world is a slightly dim reflection of everything,
Mhm.
in the spiritual world. So one could frame it in that way.
Right. Indra, along with the other demigods, offered opposition to Krishna and Satyabhama for taking away the plant. But in order to please his favorite wife, Satyabhama, I mean, why is he calling her his favorite? Well, I thought Rukmini was his favorite because she's Mahalakshmi, right?
I guess it's a dynamic situation.
Or maybe all of Krishna's wives are his favorite.
I think so.
But in order to please his favorite wife, Satyabhama, Krishna became determined and adamant. So there was a fight between the demigods and Krishna. Huh. Boy, always some kind of fight going on. As usual, Krishna came up victorious and he triumphantly brought the Parijata plant, chosen by his wife, to this earth planet, to Dwarka. After this, the plant was installed in the palace garden of Satyabhama. On account of this extraordinary tree, the garden house of Satyabhama became extraordinarily beautiful. As the Parijata plant came down to the earthly planet, the fragrance of the flower also came down, and the celestial swans also migrated to this earth in search of its fragrance and honey. I just can't imagine what kind of honey comes from the Parijata flower, or even the night blooming jasmine for that matter. King Indra's behavior toward Krishna was not very much appreciated by great sages like Shukadeva Goswami. Out of his causeless mercy, Krishna had gone to the heavenly kingdom, Amaravati, to present King Indra with his mother's earrings, which had been lost to Bhaumasura, and Indra had been very glad to receive them. But when a flower plant from the heavenly kingdom was taken by Krishna, Indra offered to fight with him. This was self-interest. You would have thought that he would have learned his lesson from the Govardhan Hill, right? Indra offered,
He's always prideful, isn't he?
a little feisty. Yeah. Indra offered to fight with him. This was self-interest on the part of Indra. He offered his prayer, tipping down his head to the lotus feet of Krishna. But as soon as his purpose was served, he became a different creature. That is the way of the dealings of materialistic men. Materialistic men are always interested in their own profit. For this purpose, they can offer any kind of respect to anyone, but when their personal interest is over, they are no longer friends. Did you ever have that type of friendship before? I can think of a couple of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking because you think that this person really likes you and that they're your bosom buddy, but as soon as you may not agree that they're bullying somebody or not being kind, then you're not their friend for not supporting their bullying. This selfish nature is.
Yeah, if I can just interject, yes. I think the way that I've always seen that is that one always has a certain reservation, because unless someone's a pure devotee, they still, to an extent, can be operating out of residual karma.
I see.
Or we know that a materialist is definitely being pushed by karma and the three modes of material nature. So, to put one's trust there is fool's paradise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little heartbreaking when you think that you're bosom buddies with someone and then, wow, like overnight it can change.
I think, didn't Prabhupada call this fallible soldiers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's from the second canto. Atma.
Yeah, one's placing one's trust in things that are fallible.
Right. Society, friendship, and love.
And the only thing that is infallible is going to be the pure devotee and Krishna at the end of the day. That's
right. Okay, where did I finish? Did I go to the end? Maybe not. This selfish nature is not only found among the richer class of men on this planet, but is present even in personalities like Indra and other demigods. Too much wealth makes a man selfish. A selfish man is not prepared to take to Krishna consciousness. and is condemned by great devotees like Shukadeva Goswami. In other words, possession of too many worldly riches is a disqualification for advancement in Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much for coming, Shikarani. You didn't get a chance to read yet. Would you like to read? After defeating Indra? Shikarani?
Sorry, I was mute. Yeah. After defeating Indra, Krishna arranged to marry the 16,000 girls brought from the custody of Bhaumasura. By expanding himself in 16,100 forms, he simultaneously married them all in different places in palaces in one auspicious moment. He thus established the truth that Krishna and no one else is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is nothing impossible, for Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is all powerful, omnipresent, and imperishable. And as such, there is nothing wonderful in this pastime. All the palaces of the more than 16,000 queens of Krishna were full with suitable gardens, furnitures, and other paraphernalia, of which there is no parallel in this world. There is no exaggeration in the story from Srimad Bhagavatam. The queens of Krishna were all expansions of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmiji. Krishna used to live with them in different palaces, and he treated them in exactly the same way as an ordinary man treats his wife. We should always remember that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was playing exactly like a human being. Although he showed his extraordinary opulences by simultaneously marrying more than 16,000 wives in more than 16,000 palaces, he behaved with them just like an ordinary man. And he strictly followed the relationship between the husband and wife required in ordinary homes. Therefore, it is very difficult to understand the characteristics of the Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead. Even demigods like Brahma and others are unable to probe into the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The wives of Krishna were so fortunate that they got the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their husband, although their husband's personality was unknown even to the demigods like Brahma.
Was that 2 paragraphs?
Yeah.
Okay. Nirhari Bhavatrini, are you back? Nirhari Bhavatrini, are you back? Are you able to read or no?
Hi, I'm back.
Okay, here we are. Here we are. The mic's
Sorry.
on.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, someone please read.
I can read. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I can now.
Get in your glasses.
All right. In their dealings as husband and wife, Krishna and his queens would smile, talk, joke, embrace, and so on. And their conjugal relationship ever increasingly developed. In this way, both Krishna and the queens, excuse me, enjoyed transcendental happiness in their household life. Although each and every queen had thousands of maidservants engaged for her service, the queens all were personally attentive in serving Krishna. Each one of them used to receive Krishna personally when he entered the palace. They engaged in getting him seated on a nice couch, presenting him with all kinds of worshipable paraphernalia, washing his lotus feet with Ganges water, offering him betel nuts, and massaging his legs. In this way, they were giving him relief from the fatigue of being away from home. They saw to fanning him nicely, offering him fragrant essential floral oil, decorating him with flower garlands, dressing his hair, asking him to lie down to take rest, bathing him personally, and feeding him nice palatable dishes. All these things were done by each queen herself. They did not wait for the maidservants. In other words, Krishna and his different queens displayed on this earth an ideal household life. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second volume, fourth chapter of Krishna, Deliverance of the Demon Bhaumasura.
I think every husband would like to be served the way Krishna was served by his queens.
I was just thinking the same.
Baba Trini, do you have a comment on what you just read?
Yes, I shouldn't have read that. now I have a standard to live up to that I don't want to.
Oh, I thought you were doing that anyhow. So sometimes, I mean, I take showers.
Looking, we're finished our reading, and it's 9 o'clock at least here on. I'm wondering, Nandapatni, or from any of you, do you have any highlights of anything that stood out for you?
No, I think other people should share their thoughts. I've shared. Yeah.
Okay, Krishna Chandra, anything stood out for you from this evening?
I wish I had something for you, Prabhu, at the moment.
Okay.
There.
Anything from anyone?
You know, for a long time, the fact that Krishna had 16,108 wives went totally over my head. I just didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because it was so inconceivable. I could not possibly grok it, understand it. Then gradually I've been able to comprehend the inconceivableness of it, but believe it to be true, must be true. It's just so far out. We have such a far out religion.
Yeah.
It's so like out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know Jesus was killed and then came back to life. Oh, well, but look at ours. And yeah, he turned a 4 fish and a bun into a meal that served thousands of people. There's some miracles there.
Right.
But look at our path.
Yeah, Prabhupada just.
Why does it have to be so far out?
In harmony.
A couple of thoughts came to me.
Well, there was a bishop. There was a.
He answered the millions of gopis.
I know. Go ahead.
Just one thought I had was.
No, there was a.
Okay, go ahead, Nrihari Prabhu.
Oh no, I was just remembering between there was a vicar, a famous one in India, and this is recorded as a conversation between him and Bhakti Pragyan Kisa Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother and sannyas, spiritual master, but sannyas guru. And so the bishop will say, "Oh, what is this? Krishna marrying 16,108." And Dr. Pragyan said, "But what about Jesus? He's married how many wives? All these nuns are being promised to him. They're the wives." Like, it was like a talk going back and forth between them. Who's better, or wow, what was far out. So, well, when he was shepherd of sheep, Krishna is shepherd of cows, so it's a little more. He's got the Cadillac of the animals, but I thought it was very clever, his answer, because the Christians, said, "Oh, what kind of God? Or is this moral? He's marrying. He's God. He could marry. That's nothing, really. 16,108. We're wondering why that number with Trini
Prabhupada replied,
yesterday.
What's 16,000? The Krishna has millions. He's surrounded by millions of Lakshmi Devis, millions of gopis. What's 16,000? And then Prabhupada went further, like especially if people criticize Krishna for being a playboy, and Prabhupada would go further and say, actually, every woman is Krishna's wife. You've stolen.
That's right.
Fooling this woman. You're thinking she's your wife. She actually belongs to Krishna. I mean, then in another place, Prabhupada said that if you want to have one wife, then you're a cucumber thief. And if you want to have relations with many women, then you're a diamond thief. And in comparison, to be a cucumber thief and think this one woman is your woman, okay, well, that's allowed. That's a legal marriage. but to want. Prabhupada explains in the first canto the tendency of a man is to want to have a relationship with many women, but that's illicit, and no, that no can do. So yeah, everyone is just trying to imitate Krishna. People are envious of Krishna, and Prabhupada said, "Bring all the beautiful women to Krishna."
Yeah, I think even in
Yeah.
India, it is so funny that some of the people, like in Muslim religion, they want to do polygamy all the time, and whenever there is a legal charges, or if they are doing, if you guys know, there is a thing like where they say 3 times divorce, 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 and they can divorce their wives
Yeah.
without doing
Yeah,
anything
that's
else.
right.
So in
That's
India, they
already a law.
yeah, so in India they were trying to abolish that, and then they were also trying to bring uniform civil code, because in India every religion can, like, everybody can have their own religion and perform accordingly. There is no universal code of law, so there is so much kind of revolt going on, and people start telling, like, if Krishna can have so many wives, why can't we have so many wives? And they are like, even for the, like, our generation people, even for weed, they will always say, oh, if Shiva can have ganja, why we cannot have? Then Gaura Prabhu, I guess,
Yeah.
said one day, Shiva also had poison, then go and have the poison also, right? Like, I
Right.
don't know how they can even think of that.
Prabhupada's point on that is that Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison, and so therefore we must follow the instructions of the Mahajans and not try to imitate them.
Yeah.
Right. Because can we drink an ocean of poison and I'll die? And yeah, no way. So yeah, there's a need of so wisdom, Vedic wisdom, bhakti yoga. Prabhupada's book said they have to reach the planet. Somehow it'll be accumulative, but I think it's bearing fruit. We can see, I mean, how the Maha Mantra is known now pretty much all over the place. I had to,
Of how in India, I don't know if this is actually Shastric or not, but it's stated that like some women marry a tree. Or
Yeah, that's if the
why don't you
Mars,
tell him the
that's
story?
according to astrology. If the Mars, if the girl is Mangalik, then she marries 3 things: a tree, and then just chops the tree. Then she marries a earthen pot and just destroy that pot. And then I think third thing, there is one more thing, and then only she marries the guy, so that all the effects of the malefice of Mars should be cancelled.
One time in the garden in Los Angeles, we were reading Krishna book, and Srila Prabhupada said that in India, all the women are married. All the young women are married. And if a suitable husband cannot be found, then she is married to a tree.
so
And we were discussing on the way out, what kind of tree are they married to? And a devotee from India, a woman, said that he was joking, but I don't know.
So what was your understanding of that statement of Srila Prabhupada that it's a non-contender, it's like that a woman absolutely must be married. If there's no suitable suitor, then you marry a tree.
No, I think
what he
it
said.
might have come from a place where, so basically, why the women are not getting married? Their astrology is like that. If they get married, their husbands will die, right? So that's why they are not getting married. So they marry them to the tree first, and then that malefic effect is nullified. So now they can be married to anyone.
What was your understanding, Bhavatrini, when you heard Srila Prabhupada explain that?
That it just was women were supposed to be married. And actually, if the husband died, they were supposed to remarry. So the whole thing of marrying him to a tree and chopping it down and marrying him to a pot and breaking it, that would be remarriage. So I don't know what he meant. And I assumed that when she said it was a joke, that Prabhupada was making a joke. with, he was just saying how serious it was that women needed to be married.
Who was saying that? You said she. Who is the she?
It was a devotee woman from India.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know what her name was.
Okay. Yeah. So
A disciple of Srila Prabhupada's.
Prabhupada said all men should remain brahmachari and all women should be married. And I heard he said that that was like the only contradiction in our philosophy. I don't know if Prabhupada said that or just some devotee said that. Of course, Grihasta Brahmachari is also a true Grihasta Brahmachari is also a brahmachari.
Well, in the case of Vedavyas and his brothers' wives, it's Vedic that if you have sex 3 times, you're still being considered celibate. So he, in order to fulfill creating an heir, he had sex 3 times and produced 3 sons, but it wasn't considered that he wasn't celibate. So there's so many details. I just immediately accepted that Srila Prabhupada was joking and that he was just emphasizing that women should be married.
Right,
Of
I
course,
get it.
They're always extenuating circumstances.
Right.
But I could have been wrong too, and I never asked a question about it, and I didn't have a relationship with Srila Prabhupada where I'd go run up and say, "Could you explain what you meant?"
Okay, so Wednesday night is the talks between Krishna and Rukmini. We'll be going back to that. That's the next. So I hope to see everybody Wednesday, Krishna willing.
Sure.
Thank you for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
My
Hare
obeisance,
Krishna.
my obeisance is to you all.
Krishna.
Vanchakopa,
Rubhyascha kripa sindhu vevacha.
Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur.
Jai. Jai.
Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Please invite your friends and family so we can. It's nice to have a little group of 6 or 8 people, but it's also
Why,
nice.
Prabhu, why Jivan Mukta Prabhu is not coming these days?
I will send them a message and say Shikarani is especially inquiring about you. And
Sure,
I'll
sure,
ask
Prabhu.
him what his answer. I spoke to him a little bit earlier, and I did invite him. But when you're running 8 businesses, then
Yeah.
it might have something to do with it. But that's nice that you're asking about it.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
I'll ask him right now. I'll send him a message. See you.
Okay.
I
Thank
hope.
you. That will be great.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.